Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt here with Daniel Mangina and Alex King. Today is Thursday, July the 23rd, 2020. It is 4 p.m. New York time, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for joining us for another episode of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. And guys, I've been having a lot of interesting up and down roller coaster kind of experiences this week to remind me about what it is to deal with contrast. And I have to give myself a pat on the back because I like the way I'm handling it. I like the way it's coming through, you know? And some of it was, I mean, none of it was life-threatening or anything like that. So I can't say it was really devastating. But if it was one of those patterns that was not particularly fun and a lot of stuff happening where you're gritting your teeth and saying, oh, I can't believe this is going on. But what I am proud of where I'm concerned is that I shook it all off over and over again and did it pretty successfully. I mean, there were a few times I wasn't sure, but I was doing it pretty successfully. So just saying, it can be done. You keep working on yourself, you keep practicing, you can actually get to the point where you do that. That's what I'm finding. I like it a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah. Step at a time, that's all it takes. Step at a time, that's what it takes. Stick at. I'm gonna stop now.
That was good though. I like that.
Thank you. I've been working on it.
I mean, I can give you a taste of it. We have a crew of 5 gardeners. Well, let's put it this way: we started the week with a crew of 5 gardeners.
Oh boy!
In Louise's gardening service, and one of them has been working through an injury. His doctor told him that he had to stop, and we aren't sure how long it could be for the rest of the season. So that wasn't good news. And then 2 of our best gardeners both came to us within a day of each other saying they wanted to take the same week off, and they had already booked their tickets. And then a 4th one is at the end of his term with us because he's a college student getting ready to go back to school. The 5th one works 3 days a week. So after all was said and done, I had one gardener who worked 3 days a week doing 4 hours a day.
Oh boy!
And I was thinking, oh, this is fun. This is not fun. I'm not enjoying this much at all.
Yeah.
And that was the big challenge to try to stay on top of. But we have already started to navigate it, and within 24 hours of all of that happening, we had a contact with somebody who has been looking for a gardening position, who's got oodles of experience. We met with her today. She's fabulous. We've hired her. And as I looked at the schedule, while I don't really like working with the small staff like this until our 2 really good ones get back, we can get by for a week. She can cover the stuff that needs to be covered. So we're going to get through it. And I could easily turn that around. Yeah, Daniel's giving me a little bit of a cheer there. We could easily have turned that around into, oh my God, this is a terrible thing happening. But we didn't. We turned it into, somehow, even though we don't like what's happening at all, it's going to work out. And by God, it's working out. Who knew?
I knew.
You knew?
I might also add myself to the list of those who knew. Because I also knew. Yeah.
You knew also. Okay.
I
give you guys credit.
Happened 2 days ago.
Really?
What happened? It wasn't about me, but like I'm always the one that goes, listen, it'll work itself out. Just relax. Just calm down. It'll work itself out. But Kenny's always the one to lose his shit.
Okay. So you guys are learning your dynamic. That's good.
Yeah. So what happened was he was in the middle of a tattoo, and we thought a fuse had blown, but it turns out it was his tattoo gun that blew. So now he's like, well, and he's got tattoo parties set up for the whole week. So he's like, what am I going to do? This is my income, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, just chill, just breathe for a second. It'll work itself out. Not even 5 minutes later, his cousin calls and was like, hey, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm flipping out, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, so his cousin's on the phone, but also on his Facebook, and goes, I just found a tattoo kit for $100 in a Facebook Marketplace. It's in New Bedford. You want to go get it?
Ooh.
Yeah. Paid for it, drove us there, everything.
Wow.
And I was like, if you just calm down for 5 minutes, like, it'll be fine.
Yeah, that's quick too. That's quick response.
Yeah, talk about a quick turnaround. Yeah.
That's fabulous though.
So that's like
bing,
into the quantum.
Right. But that was me just going, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And it was.
That's excellent. I love these stories because, by the way, this is a hint to listeners. Share your stories. We want to hear yours too, because
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
pretty sure all of our listeners are kind of in that same high vibration place most of the time, and we're
Hmm.
all doing this kind of work, and it's great when we find it's all working.
Yeah.
Great. It's good to get the reinforcement. This is the kind of manifestation story I like. People often like the manifestation story about how the yacht showed up out of the middle of
Yeah.
nowhere,
Yeah.
but these are the kinds I like
Yeah.
because
The
these are
little
the
stuff
everyday
that happens
stories.
every day.
Yeah,
That's what you got to be aware of.
that's the
Not the
stuff that I
giant.
think.
Yeah.
It's the stuff that makes the biggest impression, I think.
Yeah. I agree.
Because you run into those so often. The yachts don't show up too often.
TV timeout. Are we recording?
You know what? I forgot to hit record. If you're saying that. We're recording on YouTube, which is good,
Yeah,
but
I only saw one red light. That's why I was like, hold on.
I appreciate
Where
that.
are the red lights? Where are the rest of the red lights? I only see one.
Oh no.
Dan is in a big singing mood today.
Yeah, I'm just working this whilst at the same time also making sure Olga can get.
Well, I can see why too. By the way, your T-shirt, "Just Say Yes."
Just say yes. Just say yes to life.
Oh, Daniel.
Absolutely fabulous. I love it.
Yeah.
So, I was going through Facebook trying to find some appropriate questions for us to address, and all the Facebook questions that I was finding were really not good for us to discuss on the show. They were mostly people who are, I think, pretty much new to the whole law of attraction concept, and they were basically looking for shoulders to cry on and so forth. But it does raise an interesting topic that we can kind of address. Daniel was addressing it before the show, and I figured why not bring it onto the show and talk about it. What do you do when you are confronted by people who say that they're interested in law of attraction, say that they're interested in the spiritual growth thing and so forth, and then they demonstrate that all they really want is just somebody to cry on their shoulder and to vent at and all this other kind of stuff? What are your favorite ways to deal with that? I figure that gets a conversation started. So, Alex, I know you have very strong rules about this, so I'll go with you first.
I don't.
You just don't.
I just don't. Because clearly, if you just want a shoulder to cry on, I'm not the one for you, because I'm not going to sit here and babysit you.
Just say no, in other words.
Just say no. Yeah.
Just say no. Yeah.
But if you're really interested in getting into law of attraction, then yes, I will answer your questions. I will help you out. But if you're just sitting here to whine about stuff, I don't have time for it. I got my own problems.
Anybody got time for that? Anybody got time for that?
Daniel, what are your thoughts?
You gave it more thought than I did. I'm already eating cookies.
Facts, right?
I'm already eating cookies. Just 1 second, guys. I'm listening, but I have to take care of something. Just 1 second.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, obviously, this is going to be a much quicker conversation than I had originally intended, so we're going to have to find something new.
You thought we were going to delve into the contrast. That's what you thought.
Well, yeah, apparently the contrast in this case was a clear no, and not
that's
interested.
A solid no. That's a no for me, dog.
That's a no. I feel like we're in America's Got Talent, and we got the judges up here with the bells and all that kind of stuff.
Yep. Just straight up, nope.
Sorry, too bad. No. Next. And yet I think there is a little bit of topic in it, because by adopting that viewpoint, what you're really saying is, I want a different narrative.
Yes, exactly.
You're insisting on it, really.
Yeah,
and
by putting my foot down, I'm saying no. It's not going to happen. Not dealing with it in my life.
And like you said, I will often suggest, if you really do want to learn how this stuff works, I'll be happy to teach you.
Yeah.
But I got better things to do with my time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really coming down to, do you want to give energy to that which you don't like giving energy to?
No. I'm only allotted a certain amount of energy per day, and I don't have time to share it with other people.
Oh, so there are limits on your energy, huh? Okay.
On my personal energy before I need a nap. That's just what I'm saying. I'm not saying there's limits on energy. We all know that's not true.
Yeah,
I'm saying me personally, I got once I reach a 10, I'm like, I need a nap. I can't do it.
No, I was just janking.
And I'm not trying to waste 1, 2, and 3 on somebody else's tears.
I don't blame you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there's something else to be said for it too, and that is when you stick to that kind of a line,
Mm-hmm.
people who are in that undesirable space
Yeah.
are encouraged, not necessarily that they'll take the action, but they're
Mm.
encouraged to shift
Yes. Or leave.
or leave. Yeah,
Or
yeah.
shift away.
But shifting
Mm-hmm.
means changing out of that. We've talked about this before, out of their
Yeah.
comfort zone,
Yep.
because that's what they're in. They're in a comfort zone,
Mm-hmm.
which isn't all that comfortable, but it's still familiar. It's a familiar zone.
I
Actually,
think
Cindy was the one who pointed that out. It should actually be called a familiar zone rather than a comfort zone.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Because I think comfort zone is mislabeled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I interrupted you. We were going to say something.
Oh, I was going to say, I feel like it happens a lot when people are getting that same energy from other people. And they're just looking for new people to suck the energy out of. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah. It turns into talk about a vortex. I'm not sure if that's a positive or negative vortex. It's a sideways vortex in a sense. But it's definitely a vortex that I don't like to get into.
No, it's a cyclone and it'll drag me down. I'm good.
Yeah, it ends up being negative at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day. Yeah. But it is interesting how often people get drawn into that. I was, just before I came onto the show, I was looking at a group that I administer here in the area where we live. It's called the Farmington Valley in Connecticut. And normally it's a group that's for just talking about stuff that goes on within the valley.
Yeah.
And so normally I try to avoid allowing political issues and religious issues and news stories and all that kind of thing. But some of that stuff actually ends up occurring in the valley. So you have to let it in, one of which, of course, is COVID. And COVID is a pretty hot topic. Well, interestingly enough, as has happened with most of the country, there are two camps that have emerged. And the one camp is always reporting the other camp and vice versa for spam and for violations of other rules and so forth. And
because they got nothing else to do.
They got nothing else to do. And interestingly enough, they're all complaining about the other side, and then they don't pay attention to what they themselves are contributing.
Right.
Well, that's the kind of spiral in another form that we've talked about, I think. It's that let's just keep feeding this energy that we really don't like very much.
Yeah.
It's a very, very common thing. It's what we see a lot in politics right now. Politics is, it's happening in a big way. I was going to avoid doing this, but I got to tell you a funny thing that came to my attention. And if you're a Donald Trump fan, I'm going to have to apologize in advance because this does make fun of Donald Trump.
Oh, well.
But Donald Trump has a very interesting re-election strategy going on. And I got a hold of a memo from the Trump re-election committee, a hidden secret memo. And in this hidden secret memo, it details the Trump strategy for winning re-election. And it's very simple. It says from President DJ Trump to all heads of departments, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to pour gasoline everywhere that I can over America. I'm going to light a match. And then I'm going to go on television and accuse the Democrats of burning down the suburbs.
There we go. That works.
Isn't that pretty much what the election campaign strategy is?
In a nutshell. Yep.
Sorry, conservatives. I just couldn't resist because it's so obvious. It's just so obvious.
Oh.
It just strikes me as odd because, as you know, my background, my degree is in political science. My background is there, so I still have an interest in it. I create little electoral maps. I can tell you exactly where Biden and Trump stand right now on the electoral map and all that kind of stuff. And nobody really cares. But I do because it's just fun, And so I kind of follow this stuff. And so most of the time I'm trying to stay. This is a way of like dipping toes in contrast. We talk about that, right? This is one of my ways I like to dip my toes in contrast. Because like the stream was telling us on Tuesday, what's going on right now is a big thing of order societies. By order societies, societies that want to order us around. Government, religions, educational organizations that want to basically dominate the landscape. And whatever. All these different kinds of organizations that have been trying for generations, for centuries, to control us are crumbling. Their infrastructures are crumbling. And like I said in response to that on Tuesday, I find that fascinating, partly because of my political science background.
Right.
And partly because I agree with it. I mean, long before I became interested in law of attraction, that was the pattern that I was seeing.
Hmm.
And now to have a context, which is what I consider the whole law of attraction, spirituality, kind of thing to be, with that context behind it, my belief now makes so much more sense to me.
Right.
And it's actually gotten to the point, I almost hesitate to say this, where I am in a kind of way. I'm not laughing at or enjoying people's pain or agony. I'm enjoying watching the crumbling process.
Right.
The
Yeah.
crumbling process is fascinating for me.
Hmm.
And
Now, why is it so fascinating?
I think I was asking myself that question earlier, and I don't know what the answer is. I
Okay.
think it's fascinating because I've just believed it was happening for so long, and now that I have both validation and a
Yeah.
spiritual philosophical structure to hold it in context, it seems even more fascinating to me. Now, by the same token, I'm also finding that I'm paying, interestingly enough, less and less attention to the politics, less and less attention to the news. It's getting less and less interesting.
Yes.
And that surprised me because, like I said, I mean, my background was political science.
Yep.
For the longest time, I was an activist. Now it's like I don't careivist.
I'm a careivist.
It's
rubbing off on you. That's what it is.
I care less and less every single day.
Yeah.
So to me, that's just one more example of, wow, look at all of what changes when I, in this case, when I am willing to change my perspective.
Right.
Just shifting. And that's why when I think about these people who have these, crazy things going on where they want to cry on shoulders and so forth, I think, boy, all they got to do is just shift a perspective.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be in the right direction. I mean, it's like Mike Dooley points out, it doesn't even matter if you get in your car and you start driving east when you're supposed to be going west.
Yeah.
Because as long as you have the GPS is going to say, make a legal U-turn.
Right.
It's just,
one way or the other.
One way or another, you're going to get there.
Yeah.
The only thing is you have to put the car in gear.
Right.
You have to make the shift,
Yes, exactly.
Even if it's a shift in the wrong direction, you'll still get there. So that's what I think about. I think about these people who have put themselves in these familiar zones, because we're not calling them comfort zones anymore.
Right.
And all they have to do is shift something, anything, and then stuff will start to change.
Big facts.
That makes me feel good.
Good.
Just thinking about that.
Yeah.
That gives me hope for a whole lot of people in the short term. I mean, in the long term, I have hope for everybody. In the short term, it's sometimes harder because people are dealing with often really severe stuff,
Yeah.
But when I know all they have to do is even accidentally make a shift of some kind, things start to change. Things start to improve, even when they're at their darkest.
True.
I mean, that's good stuff.
Yeah, it is.
I like that. That feels
2020 is going to turn around. I feel it.
Oh, I think 2020 is just beginning to show us stuff. I really do. I mean, I've expressed this opinion before. Well, actually, expressing this opinion is what got Amy Blackmore onto the show. Blackford on the show as a co-host.
What was the opinion?
She was hearing about the show from a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yep.
She heard about the show, listened in, heard me talking about it on some particular episode. I don't remember which one. About how I think 2020 is an amazing year of clarity, and we're going to have stuff coming out of it that we can't even begin to fathom right now. She's saying, yes, 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 yes. And that's what brought her onto the show.
Well, look at that.
So I mean, that's just a small example, but clarity is, I don't even dare to express some of the things that I think are going to become clear. But just in the next few months, the clarity is going to be just off the charts for so many people.
It reminds me of a meme I saw that said, because every month it's getting worse and worse. So a meme that said, well, let's go ahead and get August started. And it had a picture of a gremlin and running water.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yep. Well, again, I guess it depends on how you look at the gremlin.
Well, if you wet them, you'd get a lot more than you bargained for. This is true. Problem.
Yeah. On the other hand, that's where the phrase "being all wet" comes from. So.
Oh no.
But I'm serious. I mean, it's a joke, but I'm also serious.
Yeah.
That's a shift.
Yep.
Even if it's unintentional, it's a shift.
Hmm.
And those shifts do all kinds of stuff. I mentioned politics, so I'll say one more thing about politics. By the time October rolls around, of course, here in the United States, we have our uh, election on November 3rd. So October is a
Hmm.
pretty important month here in the US. And by the time it rolls around, there's going to be a lot of people on both sides of the divide and those who don't even care about the divide
Hmm.
who are going to be feeling different about the political landscape just because of how it's all going to be playing out.
Agreed.
And it can't do anything but shift things.
Hmm.
No
One
matter
way or
what
the other.
perspective you come from, no matter what political viewpoint you have, no matter
Hmm.
whether you have no political viewpoint at all, no matter whether you even care about politics, it's still going to shift things. It's just going to shift things, and
Yeah.
it's unavoidable just because there's this big clarity thing going on. Now I start adding in things like, well, we have an economy that's been
Hmm.
in trouble, and we
Right.
have this COVID thing that's been going on, and
Hmm.
we've got the racial troubles that have been going on.
Yep.
And from many people's perspective, it's like that meme was talking about. It seems like everything's falling apart.
Yep.
And I'll bet you by the end of this year, even that perspective changes.
Oh,
I'll
of
bet you
course.
by the end of this year, people are going to start seeing all of those things so differently.
Hmm.
And they won't even necessarily have noticed that there was a change. All they'll
Hmm.
notice is what they're seeing,
Yeah.
but the change will have happened anyway.
I think people are going to look back and go either, well, that wasn't so bad, or it's not as bad as it is.
There's going to be something like that, but it's going to be
Something.
different. It's
Yeah,
going to be
it's going to be
different from what
different
it is
either
now.
way. Hmm.
Yeah. And I take a lot of comfort in that. I
Hmm.
take a lot of comfort and a lot of confidence from knowing just how powerful change is. For the good, for the bad, for whatever,
Yeah.
change just changes the order of things.
Facts.
And it happens, we're going to go back to basics here, because of consciousness, because
Hmm.
of thought,
Hmm.
because people are different. Diversity of thought, diversity of perspectives, diversity of interests. That's why it all changes. It all keeps happening. And
Yeah.
so those who perpetually are saying, "Oh, it's just getting worse. It's just getting worse. It's just getting worse." They may not understand how law of attraction works, but they also
Right.
don't really understand how change works,
Mm.
because the only way it can continually get worse is if you focus on getting worse. And the moment that you shift that is the moment that it changes. And
Facts.
they don't have to know that rule.
Right.
That's what's so interesting about it. They don't have to know the rule. All they have to do is accidentally shift, and all of a sudden it shifts. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I just got a note from Daniel. He has something that's come up, so he's going to have to go, which is sad.
That's cool.
That's right. We'll pick him up next Tuesday. But yeah, so that's what I've been thinking a lot about in the midst of dealing with little crises with gardeners who go away,
Gardeners go away.
and new ones come in.
There you
Interesting
go.
thing about the new gardener who came in,
Uh-huh.
we interviewed her, and we've already gotten paperwork from her, and we're going to start her on Monday.
Mhm.
She reminds both Louise and I of somebody who used to work for us who was really good.
Oh, good.
Was a really good gardener. In fact, she ran a good portion of our operation for a while.
Oh, wow.
And talk about how when you maintain a good vibe and you
Mhm.
maintain a positive attitude and stay focused on what you like despite what's not happening, what you don't like what's happening,
Right.
you stay in that spot, good things happen. This is a great example of it. This woman, when we were in the interview with her, we asked her a question that was very much on our minds and has been on our minds for quite some time, because we have had need for what we call an estimator, someone who goes out and consults with new customers, provides estimates, that kind of thing. And we hadn't found the right person. We tried and tried, and just the right person wasn't showing up. We kind of gave up. Louise has been doing that part of it. I've been doing the rest of it.
Right.
And of course, our gardeners have been doing the gardening.
Hmm.
And toward the end of our interview with this woman, Louise said, I got a question for you. Would you be interested at some point in perhaps broadening your experience, doing other stuff, like maybe doing consults? And the person we interviewed said, "Oh, I'd love to do consults."
Oh, nice.
Like, ooh, now there's an unexpected perk. We didn't expect that one, because we weren't advertising for an estimator. We were
Right.
advertising for a gardener. You know, and we got an estimator out of it, which is what we really need. You know, now is she an estimator now? No, I mean, she probably won't start doing that until like next spring.
Yeah.
But how cool!
It's on the table. That's all that matters.
On the table. It's right there. Yeah. And she was excited about it. She was really intrigued. In fact, even the old person, not old, the previous employee who she's very much like, never wanted to be an estimator. So, I mean, this is like a step forward. You know?
Yeah. For lack of a better term, an upgrade.
It's an upgrade. Yeah.
Speaking of which, did you get your new phone?
I did. I have it. Yes. The old phone is now buried. The new phone is, it's got a prettier screen, actually. It's not scratched like the old one does. And even better, the battery lasts.
Nice. I don't know about Apple batteries, man. All my Apple friends are always coming to visit my house with their chargers, and they're only here for an hour.
Well, I can't speak to that because there's a whole lot of difference in usage, but
yes, definitely. Especially with social media and such. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get little reports on my phone telling me how often I'm on the phone, and it tells me I'm using it 11 minutes a day. So it's not like I have a heavy usage going on.
11 minutes?
I don't spend a lot of time on the phone.
I do that just waking up. Like that's before I even put my feet on the floor. Are you serious?
Well, it turns out that there is something that you can do with a phone that can actually make batteries wear out faster. And
what is it?
A lot of people don't know that. And that is powering off your phone entirely when you charge it. The reason why that will wear out a battery faster is because when your phone is on, there's software that's running that can detect how much charge you put in. But when you've turned that off, it can't detect it, so it burns out the battery.
People think they're charging their phones faster by turning it off.
Which they are. It does charge faster, but they don't realize they're also risking burning out the battery.
The solution to that, if you do like to turn your phone off to charge your phone, put it on airplane mode. Because that way the software is still working, but your phone's not bothering you and it's being charged.
You mean without turning the phone off?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. As long as the phone is on, I don't care if it's airplane mode, not airplane mode, it doesn't matter. It just
my phone's never off. Never off.
Well, that much I knew.
Yeah.
We've had conversations about that one.
Yes.
But and that's really the whole trick. And I'll bet that most of the people who have trouble with batteries and phones, that's what they ran into. In my case, the phone I had before was in my case, the phone I had before was a used phone that I acquired from somebody else. And they had, I'm pretty sure, not charged the battery properly. So that after having it for a short period of time, the battery was already showing replace me on the screen, and it was, the charge would last like 20 minutes or something like that. It was definitely.
Now, what version is this? Because my phone.
Oh, this is an old one.
The whole thing comes together, and you can't replace the battery. You got to get a new phone.
Well, ultimately, that's what I did do. I mean, I did try to replace the battery, and you're not supposed to replace it. They want you to go to their repair store, but there are plenty of videos and so forth for how to replace batteries. And I figured, I'd give it a shot. And so I tried replacing the battery, and I did. The new battery got in, except that the touchscreen didn't work anymore.
Oh, no.
It's like, no.
You almost had it.
Almost. I was so close.
Oh.
But that's all right. I got a screen that's much cleaner, much fresher, and the battery's got 97% battery life. And this is an older phone too. Both, it's the same model. I mean, this phone is like, this model's like 6-7 years old, something like that. So.
My dude, when are we gonna upgrade?
I don't use the phone. I just told you 10 minutes ago. I use it 11 minutes a day. This is not something I need to put a lot of money into.
Good point. All right, fair enough. I
mean, if I was using it as much as you, I'd probably get a newer model. But this is not one of my higher priorities. You know what? One of my highest priorities. It's all about
the camera.
Well, actually, not even the camera is useful. I do like having that camera.
Yeah.
But no, my biggest reason for having the phone is so that I could have a phone to test against when I'm testing the software for the LOA Today app. That's literally the biggest use I have for it.
Yeah.
Even more than making the phone
11 minutes.
Yeah. I've used it. I mean, when I look at the times, it tells me what, how much time you used it, and then it breaks it down by app.
Yeah.
It's always the app I'm working on that has the most time on it.
Right. Fair enough.
So, oh my. But anyway, I guess what I'm saying is all this stuff just keeps pointing to the same thing. Clarity. We're getting clarity. I'm getting huge amounts of clarity in my life. I think you are too.
Yeah.
And the more that we focus on this stuff, the more clear stuff becomes.
Yeah.
How can it not lead to more clarity in 2020 is my question. I don't see how
I'm
that's
just
possible.
at the point where it's like, everything's going to be okay. So just breathe. And that's the clarity I'm having, is just, you know what, when a stressful situation pops up, just breathe, because in 5 minutes to 24 hours, it'll work itself out one way or the other.
And that time frame has actually been working pretty consistently for you this year.
Oh yeah, well, that's because that was the time frame I gave myself. I was like, listen, by midnight, shit has to shift. Like, that's it.
Okay. Yeah. So you set an intention.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it worked.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Yeah. And that brings me to a confusing conclusion.
A confusing conclusion.
Confusing conclusion, yes. You know how we always say you can't manifest for other people?
Yeah.
So how am I doing it?
How are you doing what?
With Kenny, mostly. A lot of other people too. My mother sometimes. But yeah, like, he'll be, I don't know if I'm just putting him at ease or if he's starting to see my side of things, like noticing that, yes, things will be okay if you just breathe for a second.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, I'll tell him, I'm like, listen, this is going to work itself out. And then it does, not even 10 minutes later. And I don't know how I'm doing it, because I was always taught that you can only manifest for yourself.
Well, were you part of the experience?
Was I a witness to it?
I mean, were you part of the experience?
I don't explain what you mean.
Was what was going on something that you were a part of?
Yes.
So you attracted it.
Touché.
Not that you attracted it for somebody else, you attracted it.
Touché. Actually, I believe I did attract it, because I was getting really annoyed with the people who were here. So I was like, okay,
yeah,
they got to leave. And then the power bank blew. So
I mean, you're just reinforcing my point. Things were happening the way you wanted them to happen.
You're right.
Because you wanted them for you.
Yeah. Good point.
Now,
good point.
That doesn't mean you can't help somebody else.
Yeah.
We talked about that too.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it for them, but you can certainly help them. And like you pointed out, if you put out an energetic signature that is very strong and very reinforcing, very high vibe,
mm-hmm.
and if the other person is receptive to it, which is what you described, that was Kenny, being willing to kind of shift himself. That's being receptive to that high vibration.
He was not receptive.
Oh, he wasn't receptive.
He doesn't get receptive till my point is proven.
Ah, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right. In this case, we know you were attracting it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so if this had been a case where like you were in separate places and you weren't really being affected at all by the tattoo gun or whatever,
mm-hmm.
You probably would have had a different result
mm-hmm.
because he was holding it down so much. On the flip side, though, if you'd been in separate places and he had allowed his vibration to rise to yours to some level, not even the whole way up, just to some level, it may have been enough to let it in.
Okay.
That's where the influence part comes in. Mm-hmm. Just because we can't control for somebody else doesn't mean the influence part isn't powerful, because it is powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's really powerful, actually.
Okay.
And I think that's why so many people think that you can control others with it. They think that you can do it for them. It's not that you're doing it for them. It's just that it's such a powerful process.
Yeah.
That all they have to do is just shift a little bit, and your energy goes boom for them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because you're giving so much energy.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
That's really what happens. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, some people might argue that means that you were the one who's doing it for them. I think that's kind of a distorted way of describing it myself. But
no, I think you're right. I think it's the influence. I think it's, you're setting the vibration, and then people just start to vibe to what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's be perfectly honest, the higher vibe is much more fun anyway. It feels better.
So much more relaxing.
And everybody knows it, including the ones who resisted.
Yeah, true.
I mean, it's not like you have to argue with them. They already know. They're perhaps trying to deny it. They're probably trying to pretend that it's not there, but
definitely.
It's not like they don't experience it. They do experience it.
Mm-hmm.
They do feel it on some level. So, yeah, I think
it's rise and vibe.
It's a good question that you're raising there, because we do have a tendency to kind of dismiss the whole influence thing as like it's relatively unimportant. It's not unimportant.
Because we run into that on the Law of Attraction Change My Life group all the time.
Oh, yeah.
People wanting to manifest for other people or influence other people in their direction, or attract their ex back and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that group,
Yeah.
the baby elephant group, the
Mhm.
Abraham Vortex group. I mean, there's like you
Mhm.
go through all of them, and they all have that kind of thing going on. Yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt about it. But I love the fact that we can have that kind of influence. I think about we were talking about the news and political stuff that goes on. I've really been practicing. Linda Armstrong was the one who kind of got me on this. Just
Mhm.
practicing putting out energy whenever I'm seeing something that I don't like and that I would normally have gotten all upset about, and that I'm now no longer getting upset about. I'm much more distant about it.
Yeah.
I've been taking the opportunity to just kind of send energy, send energy, send energy,
Mhm.
knowing that I'll probably never know what happened to the energy.
Mhm. True.
I'll probably never see what result came out of it, but also knowing that if I'm in a high vibe state and if somebody out there is ready to receive it, it's going to help them.
True.
That's where the influence comes in.
Mhm.
That
Okay.
is influencing. It's I never really liked the phrase random acts of kindness because I always thought that was a little bit, I don't know. It just didn't resonate with me very well.
Mhm.
But it falls into that category. Just putting it
Yeah.
out there and let somebody benefit from it.
Yeah.
No, and I, it works. It's very effective.
I don't like random acts of kindness because I'm very nosy and I need to know where my energy is going. I'm like, I need to know what I did for the universe today.
You and Louis D'Souza, that was his question, right? He wanted to
Yeah.
know not just what he was doing today. Why am I even here on Earth? What's my
Yeah.
purpose here?
Please
What have
tell
I
me. Why am I
contributed?
here? What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong?
Right. Oh, but
Oh.
I'll tell you what though, even to the extent that I know you kind of like draw a little circle saying, well, I'm only doing it with the sphere.
Yeah.
Energy doesn't know those limits.
No, it
So
doesn't.
so even though you're thinking about it that way, the energy still goes out and helps anyway.
Oh, I know. I know.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a very good thing. I I think about crazy stuff that happens that
Mhm.
we hear about. And then I think about every once in a while some little good that comes out of it.
Mhm.
And I say to myself, that's because there were a bunch of people who were putting out high vibe and that person picked up on it and was able to use it.
Mhm.
Not to take anything away from whatever that person did, because
Yeah.
I'm sure whatever it was great. That's why they shifted everything. But nevertheless, they drew on that energy.
Mhm.
That's big. That's
Yeah.
big.
Mhm.
So for me, that just reinforces what Linda and others have told me, that
Mhm.
you just keep putting the stuff out there because you're helping in ways you don't even know.
Yeah. But I need to know.
Well, I think we all do. We want to know anyway.
Yes, I want to know.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's be perfectly blunt. That's one reason I do a podcast.
Self-gratification.
Seriously, it is. That's one reason I do it. It's not the only
Yeah.
one, but
Mhm.
yeah, I want our vibe to go out there and help people.
Yeah.
That's why I call it your daily dose of happy. I want them to
Facts.
get it.
Yeah.
Very deliberately, you know?
Yeah.
That's why I love it when we get contact from listeners.
Yes. That does feel good.
I don't know if I told you about it. I read it on the show with Cindy yesterday, but Jeffrey sent in a postcard to me.
A postcard?
A postcard.
How
Yeah.
personal. I like that.
It was great. And I read it on the air. And
Mhm.
I mean, when was the last time you got a postcard? I mean,
I don't think I've
snail
ever
mail.
gotten a postcard. That wasn't a thing in my generation.
It's been a while since I got one too.
Where do
It
you
was
even
great.
find one? Do you have to order them on Amazon? Where do you find a postcard?
It looks like you bought it. Let's see. Do I have it here? Where did I put it?
Oh no, I do
Oh, here
see
it is.
Cape Cod postcards at like those little.
But look at it. It's like an old fashioned one.
Aw, it's pretty.
Yeah. It's really nice.
So read it. What did it say?
You want me to read it again? Well, okay, Jeffrey.
I wasn't here, so yeah.
Yeah. So it says, "Dear Walt, I thought I would phone in the old-fashioned way. I'm sitting at a cafe enjoying a glass of wine and some delicious cheeses. I know that our friendship is unconventional, but I wanted to take a little time and tell you how much I appreciate you and the joy you have brought to my experience over the years. I usually listen to your show during my lunch break, but because things have shifted and my time zone has changed, I actively rearranged my schedule so I can participate, meaning on the live stream.
Oh.
I hope that this postcard finds you and Louise doing well in your new home." That's part of the visualization that he's referring
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
And that all the co-hosts are healthy and happy. I have to admit that I am truly enjoying all of the new voices that have emerged And the show is continually changing, and it is always so relevant and spot on. And then the last part that's covered by postage marks, so I couldn't read that part.
Oh, yeah,
What a
yeah.
great postcard. I mean, that was
That is
fabulous.
great. Well, thank you, Jeffrey. We appreciate that.
And look at the mileage you got out of it. It got read twice.
Yes. Now, where is he? I think I saw he's in France. Or was that a vignette?
Let's see. What's the postmark? The postmark is Portland, Oregon.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well,
So
that makes it
I
even more impressive.
think I was reading his vignette then.
Because Portland, Oregon's been going through all kinds of craziness, and there he is sitting in a cafe enjoying a glass of wine and delicious cheese. I mean, credit to Jeffrey.
You know I love cheese. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm so jealous of Jeffrey right now. What kind of cheese do they have in Oregon? Ooh, I want to go everywhere and try all the cheeses.
You're gonna do a cheese tour?
I'm gonna do a cheese tour. Oh,
Ooh.
I'm gonna gain so much weight, so much constipation, but it'll be worth it.
You might want to change that one around a little bit.
All right, fine. I'm gonna enjoy my cheese tour.
There you go. Yeah. There are some fabulous cheeses in the world. I can't sample all of them myself because some of them I don't react well to. But
well, I don't know. There's a lot of cheeses I haven't tried that I don't know how I'm gonna react to them. But
well, I do know in general any of the ones that have like a blue cheese that have the really like little blue strips of mold is basically what they are. I react.
Oh, so good.
I react so badly to that. They taste great, but
yes, oh, they do.
But my body says, no, you won't do that. No, no, no.
Yeah, because your body's like, that's mold. Put it away.
Yeah.
But oh man, does it taste good on a salad?
I have to stay away from all those cheeses that are like that. But the ones that are the aged cheeses, I like those. Those are good.
Okay, good. Yeah, good.
I can enjoy those. Yeah.
I might talk to a fiance and see what we can do about a cheese tour honeymoon.
Ooh. Why not?
Yeah. Because he likes RVing and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm not about that life. Like, I need Wi-Fi at all times. So, but we have hotspots. We can work it out.
Okay. Like, do you guys have you been working out? I mean, you're not going to get married for like another year and a quarter, so this may be premature, but have you figured out where you're going on your honeymoon?
We're thinking, we agreed because we're too lazy to get passports. We want to do Virgin Islands.
Okay.
You know, now there's the whole federal passport thing, and that's just a pain, and it's too much. And I just, So yeah, we're thinking someplace that's a U.S. territory, but also tropical, because tropical Timmy has to be warm at all times.
Okay. Which is an odd thing because you live in Cape Cod.
We live in Cape Cod, but we have very good weather.
Yeah, but this is New England.
Yeah, but it didn't snow once this year.
Yeah, but it still got cold.
A little chilly. It didn't dip below freezing. I'll say that.
Okay.
And right now it's 97 degrees. So
no kidding. Yeah. Yeah, it is warm and a little humid right now.
Today was the first day that I actually looked up the humidity percentage because I didn't even know that was a thing. And because I look at the Google one where it's like, oh, it's this temperature, but it feels like this temperature. Like that's my favorite part. The feels like. And I'm like, but why does it feel like it's 97? Oh, because there's 69% humidity. I'm like, holy, oh my God, I can't.
Even the Zoom setup is impressed because it's throwing the static noise at us. It means that the energy you're throwing out is so powerful.
Yeah.
Wow. But you're right. It's been quite warm. I'm looking forward. I think there's going to be like a change in the weather coming pretty soon.
Oh yeah, there's supposed to be thunderstorms tomorrow. So
we're actually getting rain right now. I was wondering if this show was going to get knocked out because we had that happen within the past 10 days or so, where the show kind of got knocked out in the middle of the show. But I think it passed, so I think we're okay. Yeah.
Yeah. We had sun showers. It was raining. We were sitting outside and it was raining on us, and I'm like, no one else feels that, or no one else cares. So I'm like, well, I'm going inside because me and my hair are all set with the rain. But then I came back out 5 minutes later. I'm like, oh, we're done? Oh, all right. My seat didn't even get wet. I was like, all right.
It's not the kind Louise likes. Louise is a gardener.
Yeah.
Gardeners like rain that comes down slowly, gently for like an hour or two.
Yeah.
Because that's the perfect rain for a garden. But,
right. Yeah, nothing gets beaten down.
Right.
It's still getting hydrated.
Very hydrated, and to be perfectly honest, we do need the rain.
Yeah, we do.
Drought less.
My lawn is brown.
Brown is not good. No.
No, brown is not good. This is not the rain's fault, even though it's been a heat wave this entire week. It's actually Kenny's fault because we got a new lawnmower and he didn't know how to adjust the height. So cut it a little too short, and now our grass is like, help me! I need water!
I'm just roots.
Yeah, exactly. And then because we live on the Cape, our whole backyard is all sand. So like whatever grass is trying to grow is now brown.
Yeah. Well, that actually fits the Cape motif, though.
Yep, it does. It's not actually grass, it's seagrass. That's what it is. So.
Well, that's also Cape.
Yep.
All the Cape is covered with that. So you have these little Cape Cod style houses that have these half lawns that are half grass, half brown.
Yep.
I mean, that's the Cape.
That's my yard.
And then the closer you are to the shore, you also have some white sand on the yard. So,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's just part of being there. It's the charm of it. That and bathrooms that are 2x2.
Yep. That's my downstairs bathroom. Yep. Oh,
holy cow.
Love living on the Cape, though. So
I think about the people who built the houses originally. I said, how small were they?
Right.
I mean, these are really small.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
I mean, I know they're trying to fit as many of these as they can into a small amount of real estate, but come on, guys.
Yeah, we need a little bit more legroom.
At least go for 3x3,
Yeah, like I shouldn't be able to put my feet up on the wall if I'm sitting on the toilet, and I shouldn't be able to brush my teeth and go to the bathroom at the same time. You shouldn't be able to.
Oh, I think we're in TMI land with us.
Sorry to create visuals, guys.
I have to ask you this, since we're kind of wandering on the topic, and this is an appropriate time to do it. You often talk about the fact that as somebody who lives on the Cape, you actually live quite close to the seashore.
Yep.
And you live in one of the major towns on the Cape.
Yep.
You often complain about what you call interlopers. And interlopers, for those who don't know the term, and basically you would only know the term if you know Alyx, because she's the only person who I've ever heard use it.
Yeah.
But an interloper is basically a vacationer who comes to the Cape during the summer.
Yeah, the tourists.
The tourists, yes.
Yes.
And you were commenting in May that you were loving it because there were no interlopers.
There were no interlopers. They're here.
They're here? When did they finally show up?
Let's see. What month is it now? It's July. All our days run together now in quarantine. So it's July. I think they got here probably mid-June. They started not knowing how to use a rotary.
So you really had about 2.5 months interloper free.
Yeah. We were hoping it would go all the way through the season. And
that was probably asking a bit much.
Yeah, it was a bit much. I mean, it was to the point where they hadn't even passed out the beach passes yet.
Really?
Like, you could still go to the beach for free. And I was like, oh, all right. Because I was like, I got to get a beach pass this year and da-da-da-da-da. And then I pull up and I'm like, oh, there's no free parking? Okay. Because there's a certain point in the year where I'm like, all right, we're going to park at the house and walk to the beach because I'm not paying for parking. It's ridiculous. $25 for a couple hours? No.
Well, especially when you live like 5 or 6 blocks. I mean, you're really close.
Yeah.
That's an easy walk.
Like the wind blows and seashells go through my window. It's
There goes another one, Marge.
Yeah. I just saw a hermit crab.
Damn thing getting all over the lawn.
I did see a lobster walking across the street once. I was like, oh, you're so
really?
Lost. Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes, I swear.
You actually saw a lobster?
Yes, it was a lobster. Yes.
Okay, so I have to ask the obvious question. Why did the lobster cross the road?
Well, apparently to go back to the beach.
Okay.
Yeah, it was adorable.
Oh my!
And I'm like, it's so hot out here. You're gonna turn red before you get home. Oh, speaking of which, I have a joke. Okay, so it's not a joke. It's a funny story. So this woman decided that she lived on the Cape, decided she was going to send her father for her parents' anniversary $200 worth of lobster.
Oof.
And so she called them up and asked them, oh, how was the lobster? They're like, well, it would have been great, but they were all moldy and dead. They didn't know that they were live lobsters and that they had to cook them for them to turn red. So they assumed because they were brown that they were They were brown, that they were already rotten. So they buried them in the garden.
Well, I can make your story even funnier because in the
Oh,
gardening business, we use compost. You know what kind of compost we use? It's called
no.
lobster compost.
No.
I swear to God.
You're part of the problem, man.
Well, it's from Maine. What do you expect,
True.
That's great, though.
Oh,
I have to
yeah.
ask, were the interlopers the people who received the lobsters?
I have no idea where they were from.
I mean, because I can't imagine somebody from the Cape thinking that. I can't imagine most people from New England thinking that.
The person who was sending it was from the Cape, and I think they sent it to the Midwest somewhere.
That would make sense. They have no experience with it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, because if somebody from New England did that, I'd look at them like, okay,
And like, you're not really from here.
Either that or else you failed, Trump's intelligence test or something. I'm not sure what.
He can't even pass that, so why do we have to? Oh.
I mean, well, that's another story. Yeah, I guess there is a thing to being a New Englander. There are certain things you learn.
Yep.
There are certain things that just come part and parcel with it. One thing, this is a big deal. This is one you'll appreciate. Because Louise and I moved to Virginia and then moved back. We were in Virginia for about 10 and a half years. Actually, 11 years now that I think about it. And one of the worst things about being in Virginia is
no Chinese food?
Seafood.
Oh, yeah. My sister says the same thing.
And you can get it. It's usually really bad.
Yeah. Because it had to travel. Even though Virginia has an ocean. Like, what's the problem?
Well, even there, though, I mean, we went down to the Potomac. In D.C., there's a place where you can actually buy fresh seafood.
Right.
And it's okay. It's not as good as the New England seafood.
Yeah.
I don't know
that's
why.
What I've been hearing.
The only thing I can think is that the waters are colder. Maybe that has something to do with it.
Maybe.
I mean, we know that's true with lobster.
Yeah.
I mean, the best time of year to eat lobster is March, when the waters are really, really cold. They've just, they've gone through their spawning and all that kind of thing. That's when you get the tastiest, juiciest, tenderest lobster. It's just
did you see my post the other day? We had,
no.
What was 16 or 17 pounds of lobster?
Whoa!
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my.
Oh, yeah. Father-in-law works he's a fisherman on a boat. So his first day on the boat, they sent him home with an 8-pound lobster.
8-pound single lobster?
8-pound lobster. That thing was bigger than me. I was like,
holy crap.
He's like 6'4", and he's holding it up, and it reached down to his waist. I was like, what is happening?
What do you do with a lobster that big? I mean, there aren't any pots that big.
Oh, we figured it out. We ate that bad, Larry. And then on top of the 8-pound lobster.
I mean, how many people did you feed on that thing?
Let's see. Kendra, Kenny, me, Mom, Jay. 5.
I would have expected more. That's amazing. It was that few, actually.
Oh, we almost died trying to do it, but yeah.
Probably had to have a chisel to open it up, too.
And then technically it was 4 because Kendra doesn't even really eat lobster. So,
okay.
Yeah, she had the steak. We did steak, surf and turf. So, yeah.
Of course, if it's that big, that means the shell's probably like half the weight, but still.
I don't know, because I had my own personal lobster, but I was just like, oh, yeah, I'll show you pictures.
It sounds pretty wild. And most people around the world are saying, what the heck are they talking about?
You're talking about 8-pound lobsters, man.
I mean, I can't even begin to imagine an 8-pound lobster.
The claw was the size of my forearm, okay? It was
that is just
insane.
Crazy. I have an image in my mind of a Far Side cartoon, with a couple sitting down at the table and these little, lobster utensils and this big thing sitting in the middle.
Oh yeah, we couldn't even use the regular lobster utensils. We had to use a hammer. It was that serious.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
It was so delicious. Oh, and I made garlic butter.
Ooh. Ooh. Purified?
Yeah. What?
Purified?
I don't know.
Melted butter?
Yeah.
Yeah, clarified as it's often called.
Oh, clarified. I thought you said purified. I'm like, how do you purify butter?
They're equivalent, but yeah, it's clarified. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, clarified.
Yeah. That's the good stuff.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah.
I was imagining that 8-pounder on a roll.
They don't make rolls that big. You'd have to get one of those French rolls.
And for people who don't know what we're talking about, that's a thing in New England. They call them lobster rolls, and they
Yeah,
take
give it
all
a Google.
Yep. They take all the non main part of the lobster. They take all the claws and so forth,
Yeah.
and they just turn that into like a sort of like a chopped salad of lobster, and they pour it into
It's
a
a
roll.
lobster salad. It's lobster
Yeah.
and mayonnaise, but there's two ways you can have it. You can have it with butter. You can have it with mayonnaise.
Well, I don't know about you. For me, the only way to have it is with the butter.
Oh, big facts.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're a New
Come on.
Englander, you don't have it
Come
with
on
mayonnaise.
now.
That's
No,
for the interlopers.
those are for the interlopers.
Well, since we're talking New England seafood, I got to ask you the other one. Okay.
Okay.
This is a big one for me. It may not be for you. Not all people are into this. Are you into clam chowder?
We've had this discussion. I'm into clam chowder. I'm not into the potatoes in the clam chowder.
Oh, okay.
I'm into the broth and the clams, and I leave the potatoes at the bottom.
Well, usually the better ones are like that. Usually some kind of a butter sauce or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
But yes, clam chowder all day.
Yeah, I'm a connoisseur of clam
chowder.
Yeah.
You have your clam chowder. I have my mac and cheese.
Louise has absolutely nothing to do with clam chowder, so it's always, well, you gonna have some clam chowder?
Wow.
She's not a clam chowder eater. She doesn't like clam.
All right, I'm gonna have to reestablish our friendship. She doesn't like my shows. She doesn't like clam chowder. Like,
well, she's confused. You have to understand. She's lived in 5 out of the 6 New England states. She's confused.
Okay.
Seriously, I mean,
yeah.
You know, you don't know where you're from anymore.
Yeah, you got to pick a state and stay with it, man.
She started with Maine. She went to Massachusetts, went to Rhode Island, went to Vermont, and then went to Connecticut. I mean, the only one she missed was New Hampshire. I mean,
yeah, true. Oh, man.
That was just having fun. Okay, well, one thing we have not done is we haven't done our promos, which we need to do before we finish up. So, I love this part. I love it. This is so much easier than it used to be. So, all you have to do is download the LOA Today app. Done.
Ding.
It used to be, well, what you do is you go here and you do this. No, it's not that
press
anymore.
this button and that button and that the other thing, and then
you just download the LOA Today app and you got it.
Yep.
In fact, that's where most people already have found it, because we're doing a marketing campaign to, click here to get access to the Stream of David or whatever.
Yeah.
They've already got it. So I guess really the next thing to promote is not so much how to get it, but to start playing it more often.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we're going to encourage you to do in so many interesting ways. I've been reaching out. I reached out to you. I've been reaching out to the others. Daniel, of course, has already granted and given us his audio course, Beyond Intention, and his ebook, The Money Game. And I'm going to reinforce what I've been saying lately about the money game. People often get a little bit, looking askance at people who teach law of attraction for money.
Yeah.
They say, oh, yeah, well, what does he know about it?
But if you listen to the show and you know Daniel, you'll know what it's really about. And it's not about him making money off of anybody.
Well, you'll also know he's got the creds, though.
Facts, yes.
Because remember, a few weeks ago, he talked about how in June, well, not just that, in June, he said he came within a whisker of reaching his goal of having a 6-figure month.
Right, yes.
That kind of points to some money.
Yeah, he's not talking out of his ass, okay, people?
Right. This is somebody who knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're getting this free just by downloading the app, The Money Game. Well, in addition to that, the stream, David Strickle, who voices the stream, he's going to share some meditations that he's recorded in the voice of the stream, I believe. Cindy Chavez is also going to donate a meditation, and she's donated an ebook on relationships. It has a very long title, and I'm going to have to memorize the title.
It is a very long title. I was like, wait, where's the quotation? Where does it end?
Yeah, right. It goes on and on and on.
Oh, yeah. I was like, well, how do you Google this if it goes on like this?
But Cindy's book is still well worth reading because of who she is and what she does. She is an expert in relationships. That's what she focuses on as an LOA coach. So you definitely want that. If you have any interest at all in improving your relationships, you want the book. By the way, for those who are interested, the name of the book is The Lovely Magician's, I love this title, The Lovely Magician's Guide to Soulmate Success Using the Law of Attraction to Prepare Yourself for a Magical Soulmate Relationship.
That is
so
a mouthful.
While she needs to work on the brevity of titles, it's a great title.
Yeah. Oh, yep, definitely.
And she's a great coach. So she's donating that, and I'm also hearing from others. Rita's who does the Friday show with me. She's thinking of putting something in. I haven't heard from Linda yet, but I'm willing to bet she's going to want to put something.
Oh, most definitely.
So I mean, there's going to be a lot of stuff in this app,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm also going to give everybody a little bit of an advance hint. This is not going to happen right away,
Mm-hmm.
but you'll remember a couple of years ago. I think it was just before or just after you came into the show. I think it was just before you came into the show.
Okay.
Those of us who were involved and a whole bunch of other life coaches and therapists and so forth
Your
wrote a book called Your Daily Dose of Happiness, Real Success Stories of the Law of Attraction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's published on Amazon. Well, I'm giving serious consideration to putting that book on the app.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So another reason to have the app installed on your device. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now we know why you want to have it installed. Now we know also you want to be listening to the podcast because that's how you get the daily dose of happy, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But there's one other thing we need you to do. What's the one other thing we need people to do?
Well, what you're going to do is go to YouTube, search LOA Today podcast videos, and once you see our smiling faces, click down below to the red subscribe button. Next to the red subscribe button, there's a little silver bell. Make sure you click all so you will always be notified when we are live. So
you're saying we should actually subscribe on YouTube as well?
Yes.
What a
both
concept.
places. So that way you can see us and hear us.
Amazing. Amazing. And you know what? There's actually one other thing we need to do.
What do we need to do?
We started off the conversation talking about it. It has to do with friends.
Oh, yes. You need to tell a friend that you subscribed and they should subscribe too.
That's the secret, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, the secret isn't just a book and a movie. That's the real secret. Sharing.
Yes. Yeah.
Because when you share the energy, we share the energy.
We learned very young age that sharing is caring.
It's not just caring, it pays off.
Yeah.
That's the part I think we kind of overlook. We forget that when you share, you're actually helping yourself. Right?
I agree.
Yeah. And you're helping yourself in ways you may not know, but you're helping yourself. So, just saying.
Just something to think about.
Yep. Well, we haven't done a show like this one in a while where it was just you and me kind of, not really.
No, it hasn't because I've been out. So it's been
You've been out. It's been good. It's good to have you back so we could do it again.
Thank you.
Yeah. But it's as high vibe as ever. So hopefully our listeners enjoyed it. One other reminder I want to put out there, if you have always wanted to ask Abraham Hicks a question and get an answer, because that's always the hard part, right?
Yeah.
Getting into that hot seat is really hard. It's high. Well, that's what David does. He's Esther Hicks, but David doing the voicing. He's connected to the same source. And I want to invite people who want to ask those questions, send the question in. Send it to me.
Yeah.
You use the app. The app has a contact form. There's going to be a revision to that contact form, by the way.
Right.
Where they can send messages to any of us.
Yeah.
Which is going to be really cool.
Yeah.
But until then, send it to me. And I will make sure that your question gets asked the next time that we have the stream on, which is, by the way, every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. So, yeah, another reason to have the app and to use that app faithfully.
Yep.
So thank you very much, Alyx. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you're doing well, by the way. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thank you. Yeah. I had a back, not a surgery, but a procedure yesterday, and I'm feeling much better.
Good. Glad to hear that. Especially the part about feeling much better.
Yeah.
I really like that. So thank you very much. Thank you especially to our podcast listeners as well. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.